Hello friends, hello and welcome. Welcome to another episode of the podcast. This is our Freaky Fridays episode where we are today doing the August energy update. It's very shamanic for August. Before we get into all the goodness, we just welcome our new watchers and listeners. I'm thanking you for joining me here. Thank you to our returning listeners, subscribers. I don't know how you see yourselves. Watchers. You may be seeing this on YouTube. You may be listening to it on the podcast on some major podcast provider. So either way, we have an experience for you. I keep hearing stuff outside the window. All right, today's podcast is all about the energies of August. I said they're very shamanic, and I've been talking about that since maybe for about a week now. About how the energy is shifting everywhere. So seasons are getting ready to change here in the Northern Hemisphere. In a couple of days, it's going to be Lunesa. The wheel of the year turns, and it's our first harvest, August the 1st. And so let me just light our little incense. This one is called Autumn Wind. Where is it? No, sorry, Autumn Leaves. Autumn Leaves. It smells so good. Get the smell. All right. So let's get us into our sacred space. And it is so warm today. It's like, I don't know. I just have to take all the layers off. I don't know. It's almost 100 degrees. So as always on the podcast, you choose how you want to listen. If you're new, you may just want to sit back and see if you vibe with our tribe. Join me around the fire circle as I wrap us all in love light and light love. Inviting in the spirit guides who would like to meet with us in this now for this episode about the energies of August. And you can choose to take your listening experience an octave higher, inviting in your own guides and wisdom keepers and Anamkara and soul friends and medicine folk. It is a jam-packed, actually it's not. Okay, wait a minute. It's not a jam-packed month of August. It's actually, okay, let me show you. Well, let me just start with how I got to where we're at. So, July, August, and September, with the guides that I'm working with, has an overall theme of signs and portents, the holy made manifest. And last month, we did a lot of work with our sacred keys, and we're not done with them yet. We have one more key to activate. We're going to activate that on Sunday. That is our third key activation for the Lion's Gate. And ever since maybe, like I said, about a week ago, I've been feeling this first harvest time coming, hence all the autumnal look of my studio space. We're in a new little spot. As I moved my studio around, I watched kind of the last video and I was like, oh my God, I don't like that wall being up on my back like that. So I had to move our space around. I was like, I have to be by the window. And yesterday, I was visited by the spirit of the plant Yerba Santa, which I do have some. And this plant spirit was like trying to, always when I'm trying to get into like a changing energy, you know, some guide will show up. And so I was like, okay, need to kind of feel into August and what August feels like. And for those of you that have followed for a while, you may or may not remember that Shaman's Drum card deck and Twin Hearts card deck have been lost in the mail. They finally showed up about a week ago, and we are going to work a little bit with Shaman's Drum today. Now, I will show this to you. Now, this is a prototype deck because this deck has already changed once. It's a whole long story that I don't want to go into here, but I made it's actually going to be a little bit bigger by about 1/2 inch. The width will be the same. And I did something different right here on the back of the cards. Other than that, they're all, the messages and all that have not changed. And I want to do a walkthrough of this deck so that we can sit with the energies of this deck. But it's a very divine masculine deck. And I'm going to ask, I'm going to just ask the guides, let me just make sure I know who's here. And I want them to kind of keep me on track so I'm not just all over the place. Yeah, let's keep going. Not so much with the deck yet. We are going to pull a couple of cards from it. But it was the spirit of Yerba Santa, and I was like, what do you want to show me? And so I did a journey, a shamanic journey with Yerba Santa, and it just showed me like shamanism, which shamanic work is something is very close to my heart. All the work of shamanism, soul retrieval and soul, and anything having to do with the shamanic healing work, in addition to just that feeling. For me, it's a feeling of being a shaman, I guess I have to say. And it kind of comes across in my book, Shapeshift, which is the Shaman's Awakening series. But for me, shamanism is like a feeling, and I get into it more, it seems like, in the fall, autumn season for me. Because you'll know, if you've been here a while, we're not always working with the same guides. I like to keep it fresh and keep it new, so I don't get bored. But shamanism is coming in really strongly for the month of August, and probably into September and October, they're saying. So Yerba Santa just showed me that, and I was just like in tears, like, oh, I miss shamanism so much. And so I want to get back to, on the podcast, a little bit more of that as well. And I'm like, how can we weave that in to some of the work that we're doing? And what Yerba Santa wanted to show me as a theme for August was peace offering. So I drew the peace offering card. This deck has a card called Peace Offering. And I was like, okay, what about peace offering? And I was asked by shamanic elders, just the quote unquote shamanic elders, to make a despacho for the curandero, the spirit of the curandero collective. So this month it's going to be very, I just feel like it's going to be so, there's going to be a lot of divine masculine energy working its way into the month of August. So our overarching theme for the month is peace offering. And I am going to work on this this despacho ceremony. It is a peace offering. So here's what we're going to do. I'm going to do that's kind of like a private one. But I am going to work with us to do a collective despacho. And if you don't know what that is, I mean, you can go look it up. I don't have to spend all the time explaining it. But it's kind of like an offering. There's a certain way you're supposed to put it together with things that are kind of meaningful to you. So maybe on Sunday we'll talk about the despacho, because I need to start gathering my own things. But the despacho I'm doing is a peace offering for a boon from the spirit of the curandero. And a boon is like a blessing. So this, you can maybe start thinking about your own, like as I'm talking about this one that I'm doing, maybe start thinking about what you might want to do for our group Despacho ceremony, because we create that little package of stuff and we do some special stuff with it, and then we release it somehow, either by water, by fire, by air, by earth. So let's talk about that more on Sunday. But the boon is like to me, is like an earth blessing. So there's blessings that feel more angelic in nature, blessings and miracles that come from like the angelic realm. And then there's these boons, which feel like they're, oh, I get the chills when I say it. They feel more earth-based, like a mountain giving you a blessing. Or in this case, the spirit of the curandero, which is like an Andes or Peruvian shaman or like a medicine person. This boon for me, I think, is going to be opening up more of my Akash from when I did this type of shamanic work. And I already do a lot of shamanic work, so I'm interested to see like what more, because you're never done learning, right? So I feel like I'm going to get a new teacher somehow. And I've been working with Sandra Ingerman for a long time. I've taken a lot of her courses and classes, and I go back and I redo a lot of them. Just because it gives me like a sense of community. But here on the podcast, we have Shaman's Drum. And so we are going to be doing some Shaman's Drum stuff for August. So like any of the podcasts that you're with me on, or as a community, as you follow this and you kind of get involved in some of the things that we do, the themes start to weave their way into like your own life. And so you may be drawn to shamanism, or heck, you may even be a shaman or a medicine person. You know, whatever. It may awaken within your Akashic record, and it may be time for you to do something with it. So I'm getting distracted by this thing on my microphone. I don't know what it is. So also the spirit animal of snake, I was visited by, I'm telling you, this is very divine masculine month. I was visited by the spirit of specifically DiamondBack Rattlesnake this month. And whenever I'll just like show you quickly, but whenever I get my month kind of together, I just kind of sketch it out, and the pictures and the guides and stuff come through. And this Diamondback Rattlesnake kind of worked its way through the whole entire month of August. So, and it has a lot to do with Kundalini. And I was like, are we doing Tantra again? Because we had a whole thing with like the devil energy and Tantra in March, but it's not, it just feels very different. It feels very earth-based. And so Rattlesnake will be weaving its way into what we're working on this month as well. So when peace offering came in as an overall theme too, it was kind of the word peace offering, like this Despacho, but it was also like peace plus offering. Like, what can you do more in August around finding more peace in your reality, in your now reality? And what can you do more in your now having to do with gratitude? And it's not these gratitude lists. I'm sorry, but that just doesn't work for me. It's like a moving prayer. Gratitude to me is like a moving prayer. And the more you, so I have I have a morning song. So every morning, I think I shared with you guys before some of the stuff I do in the morning, but I have like a morning song that's like a gratitude song. And the more I sing that song, the more it starts weaving its way into the rest of my day. So it becomes like a habit, like exercise for me to do this gratitude song. And I just sing gratitude to like my guides and, you know, the spiritual realms and the etheric places I work with and all of that. And that morning song is mainly for my guides and for my space and my place. And it's not centered around things, because things are fleeting. It's more around the etheric and the ephemeral. Anyway, but as I go throughout my day, then I find myself singing that song, and then I find myself more and more like, oh, thank you, as I'm going throughout my day, like, oh, thank you so much for this air conditioning, or whatever I run into, I find myself just automatically saying like, thank you so much for this, thank you so much for that. So it's just being in the spirit of gratitude. And I feel like this peace offering, this Despacho, especially maybe for your personal one, if you want to make this along with us, is also centered around, so we said the wheel of the year is turning yet again, seasons are changing, and this is first harvest in the Northern Hemisphere, and all the things that we've done this year, I mean, it's already freaking August 1st. I mean, I look at the calendar and I shiver like, oh, another year. What have you accomplished? What have you done this year for yourself, for your family, be it biological or soul family, for your community, on behalf of the earth? What kind of offerings can you make up, be it a despacho, be it service work of some kind, be it your creative work, because it's not too late. In terms of the wheel of the year, it's not too late to bring in more harvest. This is the first harvest. This is some of the first things that come up. So when people tilled the soil, when farmers farmed, right? And stuff, they still do, but when stuff grows in the seasons, some of the first things that came up. And then second harvest is usually the autumn or the equinox that's coming up in mid-September. And then by the technically, well, we're manifesting all the time, but technically the seeds that you planted during the year, by the time you get to Samhain, it's kind of like, it's time to like, if those didn't come to pass or anything didn't come to pass, you're supposed to kind of like set those aside, and then you go into the resting period of the year, and then come Imulk and all of that, you plant new seeds. So we've got some key dates too, like in August, we'll be doing some stuff for, but there is a big portal on the 12th. I don't know exactly, like I didn't touch into it yet to see exactly what it is, but it's a big door, and I wrote glow up. So I just intuitively creating this calendar, like I'd make it all myself, and it says glow up. So there's some sort of ascension portal starting on August the 12th, and obviously we have the Lion's Gate on the 8/8 that we will be celebrating too. So let's just draw a couple of cards from this new deck. This is 44 cards. Now, just to quickly, I love this deck so much. It's very, to me, it feels very divine masculine based. And when I was creating it, I was channeling in Native American elders were coming to me. So right about the middle of the deck, I got visited by the 3 elders who helped out with this deck, and it's not so much them as the spirit that they embodied, and so they want me to, I guess, just pull these out before I draw any cards. Let me find these. Where are these guys? Oh, yes, this is one of my favorite ones. Here, the spirit that they embodied. So the 3 guides that came to me were Tecumseh, a Shawnee spirit guide, and if you'll look just at the image that's portraying him, because I didn't go find their pictures and all that, I got like into the feeling of who they were, and then I found an image that kind of, to me, best spoke to their energy and the energy that's infused throughout this entire deck. So Tecumseh was a Shawnee spirit guide, and he's very much peace, like a peaceful warrior. So it's like the warrior spirit of this deck comes out in different ways, and he is like a peaceful warrior. So his channeled message is, when you are challenged and feel like you must back down Instead, go into the heart and ask Great Mystery for guidance. So I love him. So that is the spirit of Peaceful Warrior. I'm going to save this one. I love them all so much. Like, I don't know which one I want to show next. Okay, so we had Tecumseh. The next one we had is Crazy Horse. And if you look at him, so he's a Lakota spirit guide, and he's doing like, the image for him was like the warrior pose from yoga, the asana. And his channeled message is, I am here to help you in your daily life. You can rise up against any perceived threat by using the power of your heart and mind. So I feel like he was very tuned in. I feel like they all were, but in a different way. And he was more like the union of the sacred heart and the sacred mind. And again, a peaceful warrior, but I get a different feeling from it than I did from Tecumseh. So we have the energy of Crazy Horse, and maybe these are 3 cards for the month, but this is rising up when you feel threatened by going into your heart space and into your mind, and seeing how you can work with anything that you perceive to be an obstacle, or he says threat, but you know, back then everything was like a threat. And then one of my favorite ones, I love this one so much, but he's so powerful. Like, oh my God, we could probably spend a whole month just with this one guide. This is Chief White Eagle. He's a Punka spirit guide. And he's so good. Look at that. That is like the personification of very, very strong warrior. I get the sense that he was more like a, I strike first and then I ask questions later kind of chief. He didn't seem like he had a lot of mercy maybe for, anybody that maybe wronged him or his community. And these guides are ascending too. So, I have to see that too. But he says, so his ascended aspect is like, feel tall and proud of who you are, child of the universe. So I feel like, this is very, I don't even know. We might have to do a journey with him and see what you guys, I don't know where I'm not looking at the monitor, so I don't know where this is showing up. But I feel like we could spend really like a whole Shaman's Drum episode with each one of these. Maybe that's what we'll do this month. Oh my God, he's so freaking amazing. When I get that card, I'm just like, oh, my whole day is going to be so powerful. So you know what? I'm not even going to draw. They wanted to come out first as part of this deck. We are going to do another experiential this month, like we did with Kilimanjaro for July. This month we're doing Indian Summer at Fire Lake. It's going to be a little bit of a shorter experiential. I think our last one was like a week. Maybe it will be. I don't know. I haven't really felt into that one yet. But it's going to be a little bit more like Indian Summer, and we're going to the lake, and we're just kind of hanging out. And it's that last vacation before you have to go back to school kind of vibe. And everybody wants to, why are you guys telling me that? Everybody wants to hook up before they have to go back to school. I don't know where that's coming from. But anyway, maybe it is, right? We've got the Kundalini again really strongly, like the whole entire month. So maybe I'm helping you guys. Maybe we're doing it. We've activated a lot of Kundalini on this podcast. So maybe we're activating some more Kundalini. Because I have done again After Dark, and we have not done an After Dark series yet, and I keep saying I'm bringing in Claudius the Vamp, and I just have to do it. So bringing in Claudius the Vamp, and maybe it just wasn't time, and maybe now that it's getting more towards Samhain and Halloween and all that, which is like my favorite time. I'm already watching like Halloween related stuff. Like the clock ticks and turns to August 1st, and I'm like, oh my God, we can finally start feeling like it's getting close to Samhain. All right, anything else for August? that I feel like you guys are going to be feeling as well. We're still working with the Pleiadians. We still have to bring in that inner child stuff. But I even wrote here, like, I'm going to be writing the 3rd book in the Thunder Rose collection. So I finally decided, I'm kind of like, what energy do I want to feel like this whole month of August? Where do I want to be in terms of writing? Because I kind of go and I experience the whole thing along with the story. And it's like, I feel like I need to be in Thunder Rose Forest, which is part of the Thunder Rose collection. So I am going to be spending a lot of my time this month working on that book, because I haven't started it yet, but it keeps calling me, and the wooden box with the cross on the lid keeps calling me, and I'm like, okay, we need to look at that. So I wrote Thunder Rose Forest, and I wrote Kundalini Rise Up. So something is going on with August and that. All right. Let me see if there's anything else I want to talk about. I have my little snake. You guys are thinking I'm crazy. So there's a lot of snake stuff going on. This was given to me as a gift, and it's like a fabric, but it's like snake print. It's so cool. All right, you guys, what else do you want me to focus on? Let's see. I'm going to draw one more card as like a... And you notice I haven't gone to any other decks yet. I want to like immerse myself here. So the last card we got for this month is Wampum. I like this because it goes into our theme of the peace offering. So this is Wampum, and that's kind of like... you know, things that were traded, the energy of kind of the native indigenous folks energy of money back then. So it didn't have to be native and indigenous, but other things were used as currency. Thank you. Oh my gosh, I don't know how to say it. But other things were used as currency. And so the collective that helped with this deck is calls it Wampum. And I actually had a soul sister send me some blue glass that she said, oh, I'm getting chills, that she said up in her area, which was like the New England area on the coast, that the tribal folks there would use this blue glass as wampum way back when. I don't know, maybe they still do today. So we've got a lot of glass and shells and stuff on the card, and the message is, it is only as valuable as the energy and attention you place upon it. I think that's a whole thing right there. It is only as valuable as the energy and attention you place upon it. That could be a whole other episode on the spirit of money as energy, which I don't know if I'm even ready to go there yet. That's interesting that that's come out. It has to do with non-attachment, and I've been working a lot with non-attachment. And you know me and Master Co, like and I feel like a new teacher's coming in. Not that I'll not be working with Master Co anymore, because the meditations that he does are so freaking amazing and transformative. But at least for me. But he had told a story one time about a cup or whatever. These were all his Buddhist stories. But it was like this beautiful, beautiful cup that someone had given this other person. And the spiritual teacher, the guru, was like, oh, this cup is already broken. Like every time he would drink out of it, he would say like, oh, this cup's already broken. And then one day the cup finally did break. And I guess, you could kind of look at that two ways. Like, well, yeah, maybe you said that so many times, the law of attraction came when your cup broke. But the other side of the flip side of that coin is he never really was attached to it, because he knew that it was impermanent and at some, nothing lasts forever type of thing. And when it finally did break, he wasn't like so emotionally attached to this beautiful cup that was like the end of the world. It's kind of like, okay, it broke. They said the story was like it broke, and he kind of was like, and kind of like swept up the pieces and just kept on going with his spiritual teaching or whatever he was doing. And so I think that's kind of the same thing here, that we're being asked to come into kind of non-attachment around some of these things. And I don't think it just has to do with currency, but some of these things that are like, maybe it does, that are like currency to us, that we hold on so tightly to, that we're being asked to kind of, set those aside. And I was kind of like, maybe I shouldn't give this metaphor because it's really bad. Sometimes we can get so tightly attached to people. People's lives are impermanent too. We all transition at some point in time. And as things change in your world, you may be asked, or you may be, people may be taken out of your life. Either you kind of knew it was coming, or you don't see it coming. And it's like, I don't even know. I just don't even know if I can go there. It's like, this person's already gone, kind of thing. But it doesn't mean, I don't know. I feel like it's totally different, I guess, between a material item and an individual or a pet or something. That's just a really hard line to draw there. But definitely things, I keep saying I want to be more minimalistic, and I have tried, I switched my whole bedroom to like a Japanese style. So what is it? Shikibutan, I think it's called, kind of style of sleeping. And I absolutely love it. During the day, I just kind of roll up my whole thing, my whole Shikibutan setup, and I kind of move it off to the side, and then I have space to do other things. So I'm really kind of playing with that and having fun with that. All right, let me just see if there's anything else they want me to share for August. No, that's it. Okay, so they're saying that is all. So it just seems like a very laid back, kind of dreamy, earthy feeling kind of month. On the podcast, we'll be doing a lot of stuff to support that, a lot of fun stuff, a lot of apparently Kundalini rising stuff, and just kind of playing with the energies. And then we will be making a Despacho together if you're into that and you want to do that. The other thing I want to make, so if you're into crafting, it's not even crafting. It's like if you're into, yeah, in a sense, I guess it is crafting. If you're into crafting stuff, not making stuff, but I want to do this Despacho together. So if you're interested in that, we'll talk about that on Sunday. The other thing I want to make together is a spirit essence. And so it's we'll make it together. I'll make one. And if you're interested, you'll just get the stuff to make your own, and we'll make them together. But I want to do a DiamondBack Rattlesnake essence, and then I want us to some point, maybe later in the month, do a shaman's drum journey with it, to see what this DiamondBack Rattlesnake is trying to tell us. So that will be fun too, and we can do that together on an upcoming episode. I'll let you guys know in advance, like a podcast episode or so in advance, what you might need for that. All right, my friends, it sounds like we are at the end. Oh, she's just showing me. Okay, so Valentina's like my little love fairy. We do have the Twin Hearts deck that I also want to take a look at this month. I don't do a lot of love readings, but I guess I should start doing some sort of reading with that deck. So we'll see how we work that in as well. All right, my friends, I want to thank you so much for joining me here on this episode. If you're following this when it drops, I will see you again on Sunday. We'll be working with our Despacho, and okay, let me just do this. They want me to do a light language activation, so hold on. Why are we doing this though? So we're calling in the energies of this month. Oh, my friends are here. Okay, so we've got some Navajo wind talker. See, you can't like drop off too soon because you might miss. It's just like when you leave the theater. Like, I love to sit and watch all the credits of a movie because there's like cool stuff. Sometimes they work in between the credits. They work in bloopers and other stuff. And I'm like, you know, I don't know. Anyway, it's like, I don't want to go to the movie with somebody who wants to leave like before the credits are done rolling, because I like to sit and watch the credits roll. And so that's kind of like what happens here. It's like, well, I say we're done, but maybe we're not done yet. It's like click, click, blooper. Or not even a blooper, but like click, click. Oh, we've got some light language activation coming through. So what am I bringing in here? I'm bringing in Navajo Wind Talker. But what is it communicating? Storm energy. They're talking about a windstorm. Okay, this is very weird. All right, so let me just share this with you and then I'll bring in the light language. So earlier they started telling me about Screaming Eagle, and I'm like, what is a Screaming Eagle? I don't even know what it is. And I thought it was a person. And it has multiple meanings. So if like you go and you try to look up Screaming Eagle, you know what, there's like a, it is kind of a, an insignia that was created, you know, in the military a while back and all that. Again, divine masculine, so it was very divine masculine. But the one that stood out to me, it's a winery or something too, but the one that stood out to me the most is it was a weather pattern. It's a wave of weather, and it's like this, it happens over the ocean, and but it seems very, not like a hurricane, because the wind speeds were very small. It was like, it's weather pattern. If you look at it on a weather radar, the front, you know how they show, say like a cold front's coming in or whatever, they show these cloud patterns, the beginning of the front has like the shape of an eagle's head, and it's called, oh, I got chills, Screaming Eagle. And it just kind of comes in and whips up wind and water and does this little thing, but it's not a water spout, it's some sort of weird weather front. So that's what I feel like is also kind of, if we're working with an element for the month of August, then there's this wind spirit that's going to kind of be blowing in, just like I called this thing, I called this autumn wind, and it's called autumn leaves, and I always call it autumn wind because it has leaves blowing, but it's kind of like this spirit of, we could really get to work with the weather too, but it's like this spirit of the weather coming in to gently blow out things that are no longer serving so that new stuff can come in. I don't remember the exact, the winds were like 29 kilometers. It was just like not very, why it's called Screaming Eagle, I don't know, because when I look at like this one, to me that's like, this comes in like fast, like an attack, and to me Screaming Eagle is kind of like, you know, it kind of comes in and whips up some water and wind and kind of goes out and it's gone. More like a, oh my God, why are you guys taking me on this journey of this? So this, more like this snake, but instead of like a diamondback rattlesnake, they're showing me like the Chinese dragon, you know, the one that the celebration where people get under that one and kind of go like that. I don't know why this is so important, but spirit of wind. All right, so let's bring in the wind talkers to bring in these spirits of change and renewal and peace and gratitude into your reality, into your space, and just infusing you. And maybe it is like a Screaming Eagle / whatever, kind of the light language is kind of working its way. I get the feeling like this one, light language, is working its way down from the top, from like the crown down. And then when we work with the Kundalini this month, we're working both ways. And we're working from the crown down. like the earth, or the Shintakarahara, from source down, from creator, from great mystery down, and then with this diamondback rattlesnake / Kundalini energy, we're working from the earth up. It's the best as I can explain it. All right, let's do this light language, you guys, so we can let these folks go. So take a deep breath. Let it out. Just be open to receive. Nyerakita turutit shintarakatik tuk tik tuk tik tuk Brikitur shket on iri kuru shana wayo nyai Take a deep breath. Is that really all? I think that's it, you guys. Okay, that is all we have for today. Just rest. This is really actually going to liven you up a little bit. I think with there's been a lot of cosmic energy, solar stuff going on, magnetosphere stuff and all that happening, and our bodies have kind of been like all crazy, and there have been some weird things happening in the astral realms, as well as you're nodding off to sleep. Last night I got like oh my God, it was so bizarre what happened in my head last night. It was like a whole angelic choir came in and like they're saying they did like I don't even know what a staccato is, but whatever it was like this whole like booming, like 10,000 angels did like a quick like, I don't know what it was in my head, but I kind of like drifted off and I heard it like super loud, and I woke up and I was like, what just happened? So as you're going to sleep, your guides and stuff may be working on you, doing healing and upgrades and stuff. But sometimes it's like you're barely nodding off and they're already like, let's get in there and do something. Like you have to be in that, is there like a theta state or whatever? I don't know all the different ones, but it's kind of like this particular state where you are not fully awake and you haven't gone into the astrals yet. Sometimes they need you right there in the middle, and then they have to deliver some sort of healing or upgrade. And last night I was like, whoa, that was really weird, whatever that was. So anyway, I want to thank you guys so much for joining me here on this episode, and we will see you again soon. Take care.